Hey guys, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and on today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Arcade1Up Golden Tee 3D cabinet, and now that I've had a chance to test it out for myself in person, we'll go back and look at it and ask the question, is it really that bad? So that's right guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Arcade1Up Golden Tee 3D XL cabinet. I had a chance to go over to my buddy Mike Dalton's house. He actually picked it up recently and I got to try it out for myself and try out some of these issues that other people have been saying they've been having with the cabinet. So my initial impressions upon walking in is this is such an impressive build. Like, you walk up to an Arcade1Up cabinet, typically you can tell it's an Arcade1Up cabinet. This feels entirely different. The build quality, the size, everything, this feels more like a real arcade cabinet, and it's actually very, very impressive and very nice to look at. Of course, the biggest issue with this cabinet coming out of everybody's complaints is the screen quality. And on first impression, as I walked up to the cabinet and put my eyes down directly in front of it and was looking at it, you know what? The screen actually didn't look that bad. And I will tell you, I played initially standing directly in front of the cabinet, and even moving from side to side standing in front of the cabinet, I didn't notice much ghosting. So some of the initial complaints people have been making about ghosting on the cabinet and how bad the screen is may be blown out of proportion. This is what I initially felt. Looking from the side angles, of course, no ghosting. One thing I did notice though, the screen was kind of dark and not as bright and vibrant as I'm used to with an Arcade1Up cabinet. Anybody that comes up to this that is not familiar with an Arcade1Up cabinet or really good screens, you're not going to see a problem with this. B-Kong made a comment, it's playable. It certainly is, as long as you're going to stand directly in front of it. It's not the best picture, it's not the brightest, it's not the most vibrant, but it is really good back and forth. Where this cabinet falters from this viewing point when you're standing up that high is the further you get back from the cabinet. The further you stand back from the cabinet, you can notice the darkening and ghosting on the cabinet. So if you're one of those people who likes to have all your cabinets lined up in a row and be able to see your cabinet beautifully displayed while it's on, this is not that cabinet for you, because from a distance the screen is going to be super dark, there's a lot of ghosting, and it's very noticeable. But standing directly in front of the cabinet, it's not a big issue. The screen is just a little darker than what we're used to from Arcade1Up monitors. So guys, yeah, my initial impression was, is the screen as bad as what people were saying? No, I stood in front of it and I was like, this is actually pretty good. I really like it. But again, as I moved back and moving from different angles around the room and looking at it, you can certainly notice the ghosting, but that's not playing it directly in front. So it depends how OCD you are. Like, I love the look of my arcade cabinets, and noticing that one of the screen was completely ghosted like that while looking at it from across the room would bother me, but it doesn't bother everybody. So obviously playability while standing up directly in front of it is really good. And like I mentioned, I moved to the sides back and forth just because, you know, with NBA Jam, the Shaq Attack cabinet, Shaq edition, you're not going to be playing from straight on and from viewing points slightly to the side where the 2 and 3 and even 1 and 4 players are. I don't think you're going to get much ghosting while standing. But there is a foible to this, because I've become accustomed to mainly playing my arcades sat on a stool. So I wanted to try from that vantage point as well. And that was a lot of the complaints from the community, saying a lot of the ghosting is coming from people taking these shots at waist height. Well, I decided to put a stool down and started playing with the stool, and I can tell you immediately that this is not meant to be played with a stool. First and foremost, you can see here with the new bulkhead underneath the angled cabinet, my knees actually don't fit under, so you're going to have to move yourself further back from the cabinet than you would really feel comfortable doing. You're going to have to sit a ways back in order for your knees to fit, or open up your knees wide and straddle the cabinet almost. I'm sure this is not a big deal for people who don't mind standing farther back from the cabinet, but like I mentioned when I was playing standing, the farther you stand back from the cabinet, the darker the screen gets. Here, where you are around that direct eye level on screen height, the ghosting is noticeable. The screen is very dark. The ghosting only appears at the top of the screen, but the screen gets super dark, and it is harder to play. I found it a lot less comfortable and more noticeable from the angles side to side as well. So for those of you looking to pick up the NBA Jam Shaq Edition XL cabinet, and you're thinking about sitting on stools and playing Shaq, I have to tell you, if it's the same screen, it's not going to be a good experience. Sitting down directly in front of the cabinet on a stool, it's playable, but barely. The screen gets really, really dark, and the ghosting starts to become really noticeable. So there it is, guys. Like, if you're going to be playing directly standing up in front of the cabinet, this cabinet's awesome. The sound, build quality, the look, everything's amazing. The only problem, of course, is the screen, and the way the screen is just a smidge darker than what you would like it to be. Not as bright and vibrant as the other, but honestly, standing in front of the cabinet, this is great to play with. Sitting down, it's not a good experience. If you're planning on buying this one or NBA Jam with the intention of sitting on a stool, I apologize, you've made a grievous error. This is not a cabinet to sit down at. The viewing angle just isn't good with the quality of the monitor. You won't enjoy it. Standing good, sitting bad. But a couple other people have also said, they explain for people that haven't seen it firsthand in person like me, they've said, you know what, the screen is the exact same screen as the iArcade screen. And you know what, there's people refuting that, people saying it's true. I don't know, it might be, but I was at my buddy Mike Dalton's, who's the biggest iArcade fan in the world, and I will tell you, I put an iArcade cabinet directly next to the Arcade1Up Golden Tee 3D XL, so you can make your own comparison and impression of what you think. Now, me personally, looking at these two cabinets right next to each other, I can certainly notice ghosting on the iArcade monitor, just like on the Golden Tee monitor. There is definitely ghosting, but it's very different. I mean, Golden Tee, maybe it's just the game that's on. Maybe that played a factor into it. But the Golden Tee cabinet is noticeably darker compared to the iArcade. There is some ghosting on the iArcade, but it's a much more bright and vibrant picture. And maybe that is coding in the iArcade. The side angles, they look better on the iArcade compared to the Golden Tee cabinet. It does look like the monitor is either different or just iArcade optimizes its programming on the monitor better than what Arcade1Up have done with the Golden Tee cabinet. Is it the same screen? I can't say, but it certainly looks vastly different in person, and you guys can take a look at the shots I've brought for you and decide for yourself. So guys, that's my look at the Arcade1Up Golden Tee 3D XL, and especially the screen that everybody was complaining about. Is it really that bad? Well, walking into it initially, I mean, looking directly at the screen when I first turned it on, I said, wow, people are blowing this out of proportion. The screen is actually pretty good. A little dimmer than I would like, but, not as bright and vibrant as I'm used to from Arcade1Up, but the screen is really good. And I did move back and forth like I would experience on NBA Jam, where you would have to be on the deck for the players at those angles, and I didn't notice that much of a difference with the screen quality. Didn't notice much ghosting, so I said, hey, this might be pretty good. But unfortunately, this whole argument loses all its credibility. Water comes out of the boat the minute that you sit down on a stool, because this screen completely falls apart. It gets really, really dark. It's hard to see, and there is ghosting at the top of the screen. It's definitely not meant for anybody to sit in front of. This is a standing only cabinet, standing section only. If you are the type of person that wants to play arcades sitting on a stool, this is not the cabinet for you. Unfortunately, just with the quality of the screen and the brightness of the screen and the ghosting while sitting on a stool and the angle you're at, completely will kill that experience for you. And again, for people saying this is the same screen that's in the iArcade machine, if you're using that as a quality benchmark when considering to buy an XL cabinet, I don't know for sure whether or not it's the same screen, but I can tell you I did line up the Mutant League Football iArcade cabinet directly next to the Golden Tee cabinet and compared them. And while there is similar ghosting on the iArcade, it's much less noticeable, and the screen is a lot brighter than what's in the Arcade1Up cabinet. And that may be representative of iArcade optimizing their software and their programming for the screen, where Arcade1Up probably didn't. Maybe, or maybe there is a difference with the screen. I don't know for sure, but don't use your iArcade monitor as a benchmark for what the Arcade1Up Golden Tee screen will look like. It doesn't track. It's not the same picture experience. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think? What do you think about the screen and screen gate going on with the XL cabs and the Arcade1Up Golden Tee 3D cabinet? Is it really as bad as people are saying it is? After looking at my video and the footage I've shot, did you get a better idea of what you think of the cabinet, and did I help you in any capacity? Anyways, guys, let me know. Thank you so very much for watching, and once again, thank you to my buddy Mike Dalton for letting me come down to his place, film this footage. Greatly appreciated, buddy. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of your evening. It's Mother's Day. Make sure you'll kiss your wives, kiss your mothers, tell them you love them, and thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time.